Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to No Time for Movies, where we aspire to be the greatest movie podcast online. Today we'll be talking about Morbius trailer, Black Widows, the second trailer. We'll talk about the Don't Breathe sequel. Steve Martin and Martin Short are starring in a HULU comedy. Taika Waititi approached for a Star Wars movie, and we'll talk the Oscars. All that and more. We also have Lucas Parker back today. You all know him as Lucky Boy Reviews on Instagram and on Facebook. You got a lot going on.
I do, yeah. I've definitely got a lot. I mean, I just finished the top 20 end of the year countdown, which is super fun to... I mean, that's probably my favorite thing other than the Oscars to do every year is just go through all the movies I've watched and kind of start categorizing them in my head, like which ones did I have. Kind of, it's always kind of weird to kind of rank them too, because movies are different things for me. So it's like, which movie did I really enjoy watching the most, and which one was the most well-made movie of the year also. So because they're two completely different things sometimes. So.
Yeah, I also you don't rank them. I mean, you individually by number. Do you give them like a 1 through 10 score?
Not really. So I tend to not do that, because even like some reviewers that I'll follow like on YouTube and stuff like that, they'll always leave their score at the end of their video, and I find myself just like scrolling to the end of the video to just see what they gave it, and then I'll turn it off, and I'm like, and I mean, I guess but I don't know, like I'd rather people just kind of engage with my content and just either they like it or I don't know, they can kind of gauge if I liked it or not, but not like where it ranks in like a number or letter system.
To me, it was more like I started doing it, but then I stopped because I'm like, it depends on my mood, you know?
100%.
It depends on your mood, on where you're watching it, on where to watch it, everything. Like some movies just seem to be better, like if I just watch it at home.
Yeah.
Some movies are really great in the theater.
In the theater, for sure.
And so I kind of just got away from scoring them, and it's just like, you should watch it. You should watch it if you're in the mood for this, and and that's kind of how it's been going down now.
Yeah, I'll even tell people, I'm like, you don't need to spend money in the theater for this one. Like, just stay at home and watch it. Because certain movies are like better with friends. Certain movies are better alone. I mean, every movie is completely different for me in like my experience with it. Like some movies I want to bring my fiance to. Yeah. Other ones I'm like, dude, she's gonna hate this, and I don't want to like have to like feel weird sitting next to her knowing she's miserable. Yeah, so exactly. I would rather see this one alone because it's something I'm more into. And then there's certain friends I have that are like into certain types of movies. So it's like, yeah, I mean, every kind of movie experience is different.
It's different. Yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't know. The whole scoring thing is kind of weird, which is kind of what Netflix probably did too. Cause they went from the stars to the thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they give them like the percentage. Like Netflix is so weird. Cause like, because I watch a lot of random stuff, and a lot of things I'll start on there. Like I'm like, oh, this is terrible. But then it gives me all these recommendations based off of that. And then I'll go over to my friend's house and look at his Netflix, and it's like completely different movies. I'm like, dude, I didn't even know this was on here. I'm like, why are they not recommending that to me?
Yeah, it's weird. The same thing. I pretty much try and watch everything unless I'm really not into it. Yeah. But it just recommend. A lot of it is the same recommendations too, and it'll be like, 98%. I'm like, how do you get that score?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. So I don't know what's up with their algorithm, but it's not my favorite.
No,
so we'll hunt things down on there quite a bit. Like I'll just scroll through. I'll type in like categories. Like I'll type in like Christmas action movie because they break everything down by very specific categories too. Yeah. So when I do my weekly like Netflix recommendations, I'll type in like whatever kind of the genre, like whatever, I don't know, kind of what I'm like. Bad Boys 2 came out this weekend, so I'm like, all right, I want to do like fun, like badass action movies. Yeah. So I look up like all those type of films, and they actually have a lot of terrible ones of that. But so yeah, and then I'll kind of do some research, click through a bunch of things, look at recommended titles, and then I'll kind of piece together a list based off of like those guidelines.
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing. I'll look for like if I discover some actress or actor that I really liked in the movie, then I'll type in their name and see if anything pops up on Netflix or anything like that.
Yeah. That's fun to do too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
That's,
recently, I want to watch more of Florence Pugh.
yeah. She's blowing up right now.
Because I saw
sure.
Midsummer for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, what'd you think of that one?
I really liked it. What did you think?
I liked it. So I didn't love it as much as most people did, but I really liked it. No, like it's super unique. Yeah. It's definitely like that whole like shroom scene, like in the beginning when they kind of take it, like that is so dead on, like how he was able to capture like what it's like being on shrooms. Because I've only done it like once or twice, and I was like, that's it. Like, holy shit. Like he literally like in the middle of it, like I felt like I was drugged. So I was like, that was pretty. And then it's it's super well done. I didn't love it, but I really liked it.
I think I like Hereditary more, I think. Than Midsummer. But I was really surprised on how well he was able to make a horror movie and make it feel so confined in an open area.
Yeah,
daylight all the time, and you get that anxiety feeling the whole.
Kind of like. I mean, it really is pretty brilliant. Like when you think about just like, you're on vacation and like you're going like to some exotic land and it's nice and warm and beautiful and like it just feels like so comforting there. But then it's like, dude, if you were in that environment and things started to go wrong, it's like
be freaking out.
And like it kind of makes sense what they're doing. Like that guy just like, I mean, I don't know how much we can get into spoilers on this, but the guy, like,
we could go into spoilers.
Okay, jumps off that cliff and kills himself. And you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, but like it kind of makes sense that they don't like they want to just die at 65, and that's part of their life, and like that's like their life cycle. And then you're like, you kind of realize these people are not like me. Their culture, everything is completely different.
Right.
And you're starting to feel unsafe.
Yep.
You're starting to realize like, and then you're also on drugs. So then it's like you're panic and paranoid. Like it did a really good job of kind of capturing that slow, like figuring things out that you're like, this is not a safe environment. Which is
it's like, it's a slow reveal on something, but it's kind of always it's just there in the forefront. Like it's not trying to hide or anything. It's a good movie. I mean, the more I kind of think about it, I like it more. Like as I was sitting through it, I didn't like because it's kind of silly too. Like it's a little bit like goofy. Like there's a few parts where I'm like, I get this is supposed to be like really intense, and I'm like, but that's also kind of ridiculous. But I think that's kind of Ari Aster. Like he did this short film. You can find it on YouTube. It's like one of his very first movies. It's one of the most bizarre, like it's like about a boy being raped by his dad, or he's raping his dad, and like but he's also it's just like it's super dark humor, and it's Ari Aster 100%. So I realized I'm like, oh, he's just got like a really sick sense of humor, and then by the end of it though, it all kind of ties together and makes sense, and you like realize the whole like crazy premise pays off, and you're like, all right, so he's smart, but he just goes about it like he's just unique. Like there's no one doing anything like what he's doing, which takes some time to get used to though. Yeah, no, I really enjoy it. I can't wait to see more. Like I'm liking his movies, so and he's doing really unique stuff as well. Like I like the fact he went from Hereditary to this. I'm like, I don't even know what his next movie's going to be. I have no idea. Like and he changes it up for sure. Yeah, for sure. So were you able to check out the Morbius trailer? I did. I watched it. Yeah. So I don't know anything about that comic book. Me neither. Not much. Like, nothing. Like so, but I mean, I like the premise. Like because I like vampire type horror. Yeah. Did you watch Dracula on, what is it, Netflix? I did. So I got through the first 2 episodes, and it was pretty good. Like, I didn't love it as much because, like, some people are like, dude, you need to see this. Like, it's really great. And I'm like, it was okay. Like, I liked it, but I didn't love it. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought it was... at least a fresh take on something we've already seen. Like you've seen it
Yeah.
with, and I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, but
I like the second one more than the first one. Like I
yeah,
really like that second. But there's also stuff that just happens in it that I'm like, it's kind of like how that woman's like being held in like room number 9, like on the ship, and
yeah,
she's like, you just kind of hear her like you don't know it's her the whole time, but she's like wheezing in there, and like they're always curious like who's in this room, and then they like pull her out thinking she's the murderer, and they're like have her strung up, and then she's like then she's like taking charge of the ship, and like
yeah,
I'm like,
she's
dude,
fine.
wasn't she dying like not even like a minute ago? I'm like, so there's like weird stuff like that that's just not, it doesn't make any sense, and they
Right.
kind of like, so it pulls me out of like the escapism a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
It when things aren't like, I get you're supposed to just kind of have fun with it, but for me it's like it pulls me out of it quite a bit.
Like that's what happened with the 3rd episode for me when once they took it like decades later, whatever it was. I was like, I wasn't that into it anymore.
Well, that's what people told me. It gets, the 3rd episode's really, really like not great. So I didn't even watch it.
You didn't even watch it?
I was just super busy, and I'm like, dude, if I wasn't that into the first 2, then I'm like, if this 3rd episode's even worse, I'm like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, that's it has a huge time jump, and it's like in modern times, and it's just not interesting anymore. It's like, and everybody like knows about vampires, and they're trying they're trying to capture him, and there's a whole like agency. And I was like,
oh Jesus, so,
yeah,
okay, yeah, no,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and like I mean, because I really love the Sherlock, like the first few seasons of Sherlock.
Yeah.
So the guy who created the new Dracula did Sherlock's first, and those are so good. Like the first probably 3 seasons of that, I think it was like my favorite show on TV for a while. It got kind of ridiculous in the last season, but yeah, so I was really excited to see what he did with Dracula, but then it didn't turn out to be my favorite.
Yeah, it's not that good. This Morbius, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling that superhero fatigue people have been talking about for the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
And
I've been feeling it since it started.
Yeah, I'm not very interested in like these side heroes, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
it's like they're coming out with like everything now.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It's literally like 4 or 5 movies a year now.
Yeah,
just pure comic book that we're getting, which is, it's a lot. Like it's a lot of movies, and then plus the TV shows, and like, I mean, we're just getting beaten down with it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I'm still interested in like the core super, like if like the Batman movie. Like I'm interested in seeing what that's gonna be, or say Joker was great.
Let's make them more like real movies that are like socially relevant and stuff too. They're not just like I guess the Morbius. I do like that they're gonna do like a horror, because I just like horror movies. So I feel like if they start getting it, like the fact they're remaking Blade with Mahershala Ali, I'm the most excited out of any Marvel movie that's been made. Yeah. That's what I'm most excited for.
Right.
Because I'm like, if they make it really badass and as entertaining as they've made the other movies, plus it's going to be like a vampire horror movie, I'm like, I can't wait to see what they do with that. And Morbius doesn't look like that really, but I'm hoping it's intense. Like I want it to actually be like a scary, like kind of horror, like vampire.
I think I would be more interested if it was a Spider-Man movie with Morbius in it, and with that horror feel to a Spider-Man movie. It would be awesome.
That would be cool. Like that's what I was hoping they were going to do with Venom. Like that's really what I was hoping they were going to make, that like way more intense and dark. And it was kind of like, it was almost like kind of silly. Like it was like funny, and like it was enjoyable in its own way, but it wasn't at all the route I wish they would have taken.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know, with this, there always have been like side characters, and now they're giving him full-fledged movies,
major films.
I'm not very interested in it anymore.
No,
but you're talking about horror movies in the superhero genre, I guess. Did you get to see the trailer for New Mutants?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it like 2 years ago
I
when it
know, right?
first came out. They pushed that movie back so many times. Like,
It
um,
must be good though, since
dude, it looked great. Like that's why I was like, so the trailer had me totally intrigued. I was like, dude, it's like a haunted house, like
yeah.
X-Men type movie. I was like, this looks badass. And then it just kept getting delayed, reshoots, like all this stuff. And I'm like, so it must have been terrible or choppy or whatever it was that was wrong with it. But they apparently have made it pretty good. Like they said they've cleaned it up, and it's, I mean, it had all the problems with like Fox and like all that stuff
Yeah.
as well. So now that Marvel's got a hold of it, I don't know if they like reshot things, re-edited it,
Yeah.
but I guess it's supposed to be pretty good now, which I'm excited. I actually really want to see that.
I want to see it just because it's taking so long to come out.
Yeah, yeah. Normally that's not a good sign, but like I have a feeling with this one, like I don't think they want it to fail. Like I
No,
do think they
that's
have like,
that's what I'm thinking too. It has to be, there has to be something good about it for
yeah.
now two studios to try and keep it afloat and try and get it
So,
released. So I want to watch it.
me
Morbius.
too.
I honestly don't know if I want to watch it.
Yeah. I'll see it just because like I'm hoping it's good. Like I'm hoping like it's like a cool, but I don't know. But I'm also not a huge Jared Leto fan. Like
Me
I feel
neither.
like
I
yeah,
think
like
I think that's one of the problems because it really left with his Joker interpretation.
mhm.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it, so I was like, I don't know if I want to
Yeah.
watch more.
The super broed out Joker,
Yeah,
like the worst one. Yeah,
yeah.
by
So
far the worst one.
I don't know if you saw I think someone tweeted their rankings on the Joker,
No.
and they're like, oh, they ranked four of them, and then Jared Leto responded. I think it was Twitter, and he was like, "There's actually five. You guys completely left me out." They didn't even acknowledge him.
They put the 1960s like TV show Joker
Yeah,
before
they put
you
all
put
of them
Jared
except
Leto.
him.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, it is. He's just, I mean, and he's kind of a minor character in the film too, but like, it is. If that's what Joker was, like, those movies would be bombing hard. Like, it's just, I mean, but that's why I'm glad Todd Phillips went the way he did with it, because I'm like, that version of Joker is super interesting, like, really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every aspect of that movie I really like. Even just like the fact that that's why he laughs is he has like a medical condition and it
Yeah.
makes him super awkward. And then like, but he also wants to be a comedian, like because you kind of feel for him. Like he really is like this guy who's like not a bad guy. He just wants to make people laugh and smile and bring some joy into the world. And he just gets like shit on by everybody.
Yeah,
Like it's just
that
yeah.
whole scene when he goes to finally do stand up and he can't even get a word out. That was sad.
Dude, it's heartbreaking. That's the
Yeah.
thing, is like for the most of the movie, you're just kind of like feel terrible, like, and everyone's just like awful, taking advantage. Like, and then you
Yeah.
find out his mom is, and you're just like, dude, this guy can like, and eventually it's like, but I mean, I've gone through stuff like that for like 2 years from 2016 to 2017 were like two of the worst years of my life, where it's
Yeah.
like, I remember being like, I don't remember what it's like to get good news.
Yeah.
And when it's just like things just keep piling up, it's like, what's your breaking point? And that's
Yeah.
kind of what we watched with this, was like this guy's slow descent into just like, I don't give a shit. Like, he just loses it. And I'm like, and that's because you can kind of connect with it
You
in a
could.
lot of ways. Like that's why it's really, really well done.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
More superhero movies though. Black Widow. We got the second trailer. I still
So,
don't know if I'm interested in this movie.
so I tend to only watch, I try to only watch the trailer once,
Yeah.
the first trailer, and I only watch it one time, because like
Yeah.
trailers have gotten out of control nowadays,
They
where
have.
they're just like, they give so much away. Like it kind of, and I like to forget, like I like to watch it like 3 or 4 months before it comes out, just to get like, I want to get the feel for it. I want to see what the photography looks like. I want to get like a general sense of what it is. And then I try not to watch them again, because dude, I mean, I can't tell you how many movies have been spoiled for me by the trailer. So
Yeah.
the Black Widow one, I actually didn't watch the second trailer yet, or I probably won't watch it. But yeah. So, but that one, I don't know. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I mean the
I'm sure
second
it'll be
trailer
fine.
has the same feel as the first one.
Mhm.
Doesn't reveal too much. Just again, like she's a great character, but within other movies. Like I don't know if we needed a solo movie for her. So I'm not.
I think
I'm
they
not
just it's kind of
100%
that
convinced
time where
yet.
like they want to give women like standalone like films and like all that stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, she isn't this. I mean, she's the character I probably connect the least with of like any Marvel character. Like, I liked her in the movies. Like, I liked her being in them, and I definitely like Scarlett Johansson. Like,
Yeah.
she's incredible. But yeah, I mean, do I care? There's a Black Widow movie being made. Not really.
Not really.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Like every time I doubt a Marvel movie, it's always super entertaining. So
Right.
I just stopped doubting them now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Oh, they're always good." So
Yeah, I have the same. Yeah, same thing here. Like, I haven't seen one that's awful. You know.
no. Yeah, the only one
they're
I've
all
never
entertaining.
seen was Thor: Dark World. Like, I don't even know why I missed it, but I've never gone back to see it. That's the only one I've never seen.
Everybody, it seems like that's the worst one that
That's what everyone says.
everybody
too.
says.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even go back to watch it.
Another sequel that I didn't ever think we were getting, and I don't know if I want it, is the Don't Breathe sequel.
Dude, that movie, well, I loved that movie.
I did too.
So much. Like, that movie had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. And like, yeah, do we need a sequel? Absolutely not. Like that,
No.
like I just don't touch it, because that was like a badass thriller. Like, one of the best I'd seen in like years. And
it was surprising to me. Like, I remember watching it, not knowing really what I was going into, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, because that's like Fede Alvarez who did that. He did like that. What's it called? The remake of Evil Dead. So yeah, he redid the Evil Dead, and then the second, like, his remake was terrifying. Like, it was like,
yeah, I remember
this first Sam Raimi Evil Dead was supposed to be a serious horror movie, but it was actually like really like goofy and silly, and like ended up kind of being more of a joke, but people bought into it. They still had a really good time with it, but Betty made it a full on, like, this is what it was meant to be, horror movie. And so I was like, I knew he could go to like some dark places and get some really creepy visuals. So then when he did Don't Breathe, and then he brought like that whole thriller aspect to it, and like just was like, I mean, that movie had me literally terrified and freaked out almost the entire movie. And so yeah, he became one of my favorite directors to keep an eye on. And then he did that Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movie, or Girl Who Played with Fire, and it was terrible. Like, I'm like, dude, he should have just kind of stuck with his own films instead of trying to do a franchise film.
Yeah, he did the Girl in the Spider's Web or something like that, right?
That's right. Yeah, Girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, he's not directing this one. He got what was his name? Roto. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Saya Goose, or he's a he was a co-writer for the original movie.
Oh, okay.
And it's his first time directing, so we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure I'll see it. I'll definitely still see it, but I'm like, it's just stuff like that. I'm like, dude,
I really don't know where they could go with it, but
me neither. And it's been years, so I'm like, I don't even know why they're deciding to go back to it.
Yeah, me neither.
If they are, sometimes having this much time off, sometimes it's a good idea, just because there has to be a good enough reason that they're deciding to come back. So maybe they have a good idea. Maybe that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, maybe. I really don't. I really don't know where they could go with it. I'm surprised that they're even coming out with a sequel, because it ended fine. I mean, there was nowhere left to go really with the movie.
No, I mean, it was great. I mean, it was like a perfect thriller.
Unless someone breaks in again.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea where they're gonna take it, but I can't. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like a Home Alone 2 where they just like move it to another location and do the exact same thing over again. But
yeah,
I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure I'll see it, but yeah, that's Hollywood, though. I just wish they would kind of stop bleeding great ideas dry, where it's just like, just
Yeah.
let the one movie just be enough.
I'm definitely gonna see it just because I enjoyed the first one so much. But
Of course, yeah.
we'll have to wait for a trailer or something to see where they're going with it, because I really don't have any idea where they're gonna go with that one.
Me neither.
Another one another two actors that haven't been around for a while, actually, Steve Martin and Martin Short, are to star in a Hulu comedy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm kind of excited for it. I want to see something.
Yeah, I mean, I would like both of those guys. I mean, I remember. Did you watch that show, The Comedians, on FX? And it was with Billy Crystal and Josh Gad.
No, I didn't watch it.
I loved Billy Crystal. Was like my favorite comedic actor growing up. Like when I was a kid, like City Slickers and like all that stuff, like those. And then, yeah, like I really liked him. And then he's an older guy now, but like all the jokes that were even in that show, they basically just kind of keep making fun of the fact that like I'm an old man and I'm like still doing this stuff. So I'm like, it's kind of like old person humor, but it wasn't working. So I'm hoping that like these guys, because like they're older now, but I'm hoping they don't go that route where they just kind of like keep making fun of like
how old they are,
how like basically how they're not relevant. Like it's almost like they kind of keep making fun of like that they're not relevant anymore. Like what are we even doing here? Like that kind of shtick. And I'm like, I don't want that. Like I actually just want them to be like living that, like kind of like Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like he's just a dude living his life and he's old and cranky, but he's hilarious. But he's not talking about like his relevance as like being a comedian. So I'm hoping that when older guys come out, they don't go that route.
Yeah, so, that's what I'm hoping too. I mean, they've been in movies together before, and it's been good. What they did, Three Amigos, and
oh god, Three Amigos was the best.
It's hilarious. And then Father of the Bride, it was the other one, I believe.
That was a good one too. So that was like my mom's favorite movie.
Yeah,
so
and then they
watching
had
that Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then they had that Netflix comedy special together too that I haven't seen, but I've heard it's good.
Know that.
What was that?
I didn't know they had a Netflix comedy special together.
Yeah, it came out I think last year or the year before that.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, they have this. I just saw a clip of it, and then they were like both singing or something like that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm excited for it. Hulu. I mean, that's gonna be a good movie for Hulu because everybody's gonna want to watch that.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it is like I like when, especially because I haven't seen them in a lot of stuff, and like I miss them. Like I really do. Kind of like there's certain actors, like even Eddie Murphy making his comeback now. I'm like, oh hell yeah! Like who didn't miss Eddie Murphy? Like, I mean, now he's coming back strong. Like he. I mean, I watched his SNL, like all that stuff. Like, I'm just happy to see his face again. Like, he just cracks me up.
Yeah, so. Did you watch that Dolomite's My Name movie on Netflix?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was like, for his comeback movie, like, that was like, I was cracking up, like, the entire movie. And Wesley Snipes is great in it. Like, I had a good time.
I thought Wesley Snipes kind of just took over on that movie because every time he was on screen, I was cracking up, man.
So good. But it is, man. It's just, I'm like happy to see all those guys. Like it's like they haven't really been doing anything for a while, and I'm like, well, it's not like they just. They're still great. They're still entertainers, and they do good stuff. Yeah. So
I know he also has Eddie Murphy has a stand-up comedy special coming out on Netflix as well.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's the big thing. Like I can't like. Dude, back in the 80s, man, he was a god. Like he was literally the biggest comedian of all time. And like, he hasn't done a stand-up special in so long. I think everyone's kind of curious to see like, what's he going to come out and do? Like, I can't wait.
Thinking about it now, I think all these guys kind of just stopped doing it probably because, you know, the whole Hollywood politics and stuff with the studios and not letting them be creative. But now we get studios like Netflix and Hulu that,
awesome.
You know, just give them money and then they're like, you do whatever you want to do.
Push boundaries. Yeah, do your thing. Like, exactly. Like, just.
So I think that's enticing them to come back and do projects that they've been wanting to do probably for years.
I think so, too. I mean, honestly, like, people want to talk shit on Netflix or like say that I mean, well, Spielberg and a couple of them have problems with them. But I'm like, dude, they're also just giving artists complete creative control. And like,
Yeah.
honestly, I think, what do they have? Marriage Story. I mean, they have a lot of movies that came out this year that are Two Popes, Marriage Story,
Yeah.
The King. Like, dude, those are some of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah.
And The Irishman, it was their hugest one. And like, they're all getting like huge award nominations now. Like, I mean, they have fully arrived. Like, they're
Yeah.
changing the game in
They
pretty
are.
much the best way possible, though. And I like that they're still putting movies into theaters too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I still want to see those movies. I'll pay to see them in theater. Like, I don't care. Like, I want to see
Yeah.
good movies in theaters.
Yeah, the one I'm waiting for is Honey Boy, because I haven't been able to watch it in a theater, but I really, really want to watch that movie. I watched The Peanut Butter Falcon with Shia LaBeouf,
Yeah, that's
and
great.
I'm a fan of his, so I just want to watch
too.
anything he has.
Dude, Honey Boy will wreck you. Like, it's really, really well done. But it's great. It's I think that was might have been the only movie I actually cried in theaters this year.
Really?
Like, I was like, I couldn't even, like, it's one of those things where you can't even control. It hits on such like a raw nerve, and it's like so just real that like you can't help but let it affect you. Like, it's really great. Yeah.
I gotta watch that. I know that Hulu. Oh no, who is it that has it? Amazon.
Yeah.
They should release this sometime soon, but I don't know when.
I figured they would have already done it. I don't know why they haven't, because it's been out of theaters for a while, and it's their movie. So I just figured they were going to drop it like a couple weeks after it was out of theaters. But I don't know why.
I think of is maybe is doing good in theaters. So they're just gonna let it sit there for a while.
Maybe, I don't know what it's doing, but like, yeah, because I saw that a long time ago now. Like, I saw that probably like July or August. Like, it was back in the summer. Like, it was a long time ago. So I don't know why it's not out yet, but it should be.
I gotta watch that. But yeah, for a while I've had a Marriage Story on my top for last year. Anyways, I really like that movie and the performances. But then I just watched Joker recently, and then I just that just took over. That
one. It deserves all the hype it's getting for sure.
Yeah. Another news that came out this week was Taika Waititi is being approached to possibly direct a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you watched The Mandalorian, but he did direct like I think 1 or 2 episodes of that. Yeah. So it seems like it's that Mandalorian TV show is like a testing ground for directors, because
pretty much.
Yeah. To see what fits in that world. So
and they love him. I mean, like, it seems like Disney has kind of got their hooks in him now, and he because he did like Thor Ragnarok. He's doing the new Thor movie, and then they want him to do a Star Wars movie. And I mean, everything he does I really enjoy, but I'm like, but at the same time, Jojo Rabbit was like one of my favorite movies of the year. Like, I loved that. Was probably the most fun movie experience I had all year, because it was everything. Like, it was really funny, it was super heartfelt, it was like clever and like, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I just wish he would do more stuff like that. Like, as much as like I like these directors getting recognition through Disney and Marvel and Star Wars, I'm like, whenever I see them do, I always like the movie, but I also don't really care. Like, I'm just like, dude, I wish you would do an original story, because like, it's more of who they are. Like, and it's like them choosing to tell, like, dude, Jojo Rabbit. I mean, the whole concept, like, if you told somebody, you're like, oh, I'm telling you a story about a little boy in Hitler's like Hitler youth camp whose imaginary friend is Hitler.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like, just that concept for a movie alone is just like, what is this movie about? And then like Taika Waititi just, I mean, killed it. Like, the whole movie was so damn funny. Like, from the second it started, like the opening scene, I was like dying.
Yeah.
And then it just never let up the entire film.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've seen anything that's horrible from him. So I mean, the whole Star Wars thing, though,
he's talented for sure. He's got his own brand of humor, which like, you either really like it or you don't. But like, to me, he's hilarious. Like, I really love his stuff.
With Star Wars, you can't really take any director that's gonna be he's actually going to stay there till the movie comes out because they get rid of directors all the time. So
yeah,
I mean, it's good news. I would like to see it.
I'm sure it'll be great. Yeah, I mean, if he does it, it's going to be good. Like he's not going to make a bad movie. It'll be really entertaining, and like it's fun, and they'll give him a huge budget, and like I'm hoping the deal is that if he does a Star Wars movie, then they'll let him do one of his own other movies. That'll be a very touchy, like, the only reason he got to do Jojo Rabbit is because he did Thor. Like that's, they weren't going to take a risk on like a Hitler imaginary friend movie unless they really trusted and liked this guy. I'm hoping that's kind of what he's doing with Star Wars too, because like, I'm sure it'll be great, but like, I really want to see his own original story that he's going to do after that movie. So
I know you last time we spoke, you said you weren't that into Star Wars, like, but I saw that you did watch The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, I see them all, and like, I mean, I really had a good time with that movie. Like, I thought it moved fast. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it was like one scene to the next scene to the next scene to like, and it was, but all the scenes were fun. All of them were enjoyable. Like, it was just like a super fast pace. Like, but I mean, at the end of it, I was like, that was awesome. Like, that was, for me, like, I could hear people groaning in the theater at like a few major like reveal parts.
Oh, really?
Like people were like, oh, like I was like, oh, okay. So like people didn't like that, but I'm like, I didn't mind it. So I was like, but I could hear people dissatisfied. Certainly, like, it wasn't like everybody. It was like, there's like a few, because I saw opening night. So it's obviously like the diehard fans. And so I mean, but I would say probably 80% of the theater was really into it.
I went and watched it. I had told myself I wasn't gonna watch it because I wasn't enjoying these Disney Star Wars movies too much. But I thought it was all right. I mean, a lot of, even for like a diehard Star Wars fan, a lot of the concepts were good. It's just it was rushed. It felt like two movies into one. And I wish they would have had more time to develop the story arcs and concepts that J.J. Abrams had come up with. But other than that, the movie was fine.
It was entertaining. I mean, it was definitely entertaining. That's for sure. Like, I mean, as far as like that's the thing is like, it's hard for me to say much because I don't have that connection with the characters as much as most people do. So like, they might not have liked their arc as much or whatever, or didn't feel like it was deserved or paid off. But I'm like, for me, I didn't mind at all. Like, it was still really fun.
No, but I like hearing opinions like that because I'm thinking maybe I watched it differently because I'm such a big fan of Star Wars. So was it just a good movie?
It was a great movie. I mean, that's the thing is, it was a super entertaining movie. Visually it was unbelievable. I mean, like could tell they put a ton of money into that movie. Like,
I think that might be the best looking Star Wars movie out of all of them.
I mean, it was that whole last fight scene. Like, I mean, I couldn't even visually take it all in. Like, your eyes are being pulled in like 1,000 different directions, and like all of it looked awesome. Like, I was just like, holy shit! Like, I mean, it's a spectacle. Like, we definitely got our money's worth.
Definitely. You could tell they put big money into those movies.
Definitely, Which for me, I'm like, that's what I go to Star Wars for. Like, I need good story and I like good character development and all that stuff. But to be honest, like the same with Marvel movies, I'm like, dude, these are like action, fun films that I'm like, dude, I don't want it to be The Irishman. I don't want it to be like these characters. Like, it's fine when they like have elements of that, but for the most part, when I go see these, I just want to have a good time. Like, I don't need it to be, I mean, you can't really have a great movie without some, honestly, like characters you love. But as it just being a spectacle, and like I still was like along for the ride, like I got what I needed from it. But
it was good. And I want to watch more Star Wars. Hopefully they come out with good stories and stuff. We'll see.
I'm glad they're taking a little break though, because it's
they
like
should.
Same with like the comic book stuff, and like, dude, if they just keep beating us down with it, like it does lose its appeal to
Yeah.
me.
I mean, they're taking a break from just the movies because they still have a lot of TV shows coming out. I know
Uh,
this year, and they're gonna come out with season 2 of The Mandalorian. I
yeah,
think at the end of the year that Obi-Wan uh
Ewan
series
McGregor.
is gonna come out,
Yeah,
or is gonna at least start filming, and then they have a bunch of stuff for TV. So
of
I don't know
course. Yeah.
if anyone is into the animated stuff. I think this in a couple of weeks. I think actually the new season for the Clone Wars animated series is coming out. So they have a
Okay.
lot of stuff coming out. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that they do have that though for Disney Plus. It's like, yeah, just keep giving people stuff to like sit at home and enjoy because, yeah, it's fun. Like that's just
yeah, Disney Plus has kind of died down for me though. I don't know if you
I
have
haven't been
it,
on
but
it in weeks.
yeah, same
Yeah.
here. Like honestly, the only thing I could possibly go in there and watch is the Jeff Goldblum show that
Hmm.
and but that's about it. Everything else is
I don't watch any. Yeah, I mean, I also just feel like I'm not the demographic for it. Like, because even when I was watching Mandalorian, I'm like, I liked Mandalorian, but I'm like, it felt like a little kid show. Like, it
yeah,
felt like it was like made for kids, and I was like, yeah, I still liked it, but I'm like, it's Disney Plus. Like, of course, it's like a kids
yeah.
channel. So like, even when I was on cable, like, how often was I on the Disney Channel? Like never. I never really watched it. So I was on FX or I mean, it's funny that like when you're a kid, you or even through life, you kind of go through those phases. Like when I was a kid, I used to watch Disney and Nickelodeon all the time, and then it's like when I hit high school and college, I was on MTV all the time. And like
Yeah.
now that I'm older, I'm like, and I remember like my parents always watching the news, and I'm like, I will never watch the news. Like I'm not into that at all. And now it's like I love watching John Oliver on Sundays because he makes the news entertaining and funny.
Right.
But yeah, but it's kind of like you. I mean, I've realized there's demographics for everything, and like I'm just not a Disney demographic. Like I'm just not really. So
Yeah, like I expected more out of it, and because it was like that whole that it's gonna take Netflix is gonna die, Disney Plus is
oh
coming,
no,
and
Netflix isn't going anywhere, man.
it's not even close. I mean,
They're ramping up. Like, dude, Netflix is killing it right now. And like everything they're doing is right. Like I mean, their movies they're putting out are awesome. The talent they have, like that they're attracting. Like
yeah,
now they're like really branching out into like foreign films too. Like
yeah,
they're taking over the world. Like
yeah. People expected this to be a Netflix replacement, and I think it's just an add-on to your already
yeah,
package of streaming services. So
I wouldn't even like if it wasn't because I'm getting it for free right now because I forget what I think I had it through like my phone like Verizon or something like that. So they're
yeah,
just giving me Disney for free. If I didn't have it for free, I wouldn't even be paying for it. Like
yeah,
I genuinely like I watched The Mandalorian and I watched Home Alone's over and Santa Claus over Christmas and then that's it. Like I don't there's
yeah.
nothing else on there that I'm like I need. I actually really like the nature like documentary type stuff like
Yeah.
that's on there like that stuff's pretty good
Yeah. I
but
mean,
but
if I
that's
could get
it
rid
that's
of my
all I
kids,
do.
Disney Plus would go with them. So,
Yeah, yeah. But no I'm like as far as it's really just Netflix. I mean even Amazon doesn't have a lot of great stuff. They have like a few solid shows I
yeah,
like.
same thing with Hulu. Doesn't have
No,
the
nothing.
constant flow of good things to watch. Netflix constantly has something to watch.
Constantly. Yeah,
Um, Even if you think there's nothing to watch for you, a lot of other people are watching something they like. So,
for sure.
um, but yeah, like Hulu, like all I wait for is Handmaid's Tale, and pretty much that's about it.
Yeah, I can't even think of a Hulu show that I used to really like that show Chance that was on there. Like if you like film noir,
Yeah,
like that type stuff, like that show is really it's already over. It was only 3 seasons, but that show was really good. That's it. Like, I can't even think of like another show that I
yeah.
really like that's on Hulu.
And then Amazon, I'm currently watching. Marvelous Miss Maisel,
That's one of my all-time favorite
which
shows.
is
Like, I love that
it's
show so much.
hilarious, man. And
It's so dude, that's like I thought the first season was great. Like I really liked it.
yeah,
Dude, second season, like her manager kills me. Like
oh,
every time that
same
girl's on
here.
screen, I'm like dying. Like she's so funny.
That's exactly what I was just saying. I was like, whenever she just steals every scene she's in.
Dude, she's so funny in that. Even the second season, all of them kind of came into there. Like the dad was really funny in
Yeah.
it. She was really funny. Like the manager, like all of them. Like I literally fell in love with all those characters even more the second season. The third season, I was by far their weakest season. Like
Yeah,
it's still
it's
like
the shortest too, I think, because I'm in the third season right now, and I'm like maybe
Okay.
3 episodes left to finish it.
Yeah,
And but I think the fourth season is coming soon.
yeah.
Not sure, but dude, the manager character every time she's on screen, it steals the show, man. I like
When she's like the plumber.
yeah, with the
Dude,
walking around with the
all
plunger.
of it's so brilliant. Like it's just clever and it's funny and it works. And like dude, it's one of my I mean it's a great show. It's probably one of my all-time favorite shows ever, I think now.
Yeah,
like it's just
it's
I
really
laugh
good.
out loud almost every episode. in
Yeah,
that
I do
show.
as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I went into seeing if the I forget her name, the actress name for the manager. But I went to see if she has gotten any awards for it. But she has. She has gotten like I think Golden Globes for supporting actress and stuff. So I'm glad that I was like, okay, she needs
She
something
deserves
because
it,
she's
yeah.
really good in that show.
Because I used to not like her. Like she used to be on in Living Color, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or no, or was it Mad TV? Or one of those.
I think it was Mad TV actually.
Mad TV. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what she was on. And like I remember thinking she is not funny. Like every time she was like on a sketch or doing whatever, I never liked her.
Mhm.
So when she was on the show, I was just like, oh, I didn't care that she was there. And then she won me over completely. Like, I'm like, dude, this is the character she was born to
Yeah.
play. Dude, she's so funny.
Yeah.
But all of them, like, I literally almost like every character in that show, and which is, yeah, it's like just one of those shows that like it's easy to fall in love with for
Yeah.
sure.
It's really good, but right now that's all Amazon has for me to watch.
Yeah,
There
me
isn't
too. I mean,
much.
I watched Fleabag just because it's winning all the awards and stuff, and I'm like, I get it. Like, I get why it's winning. I get that it's like really clever, but I'm like, I'm also not like, it's not like Marvelous Miss Maisel where I'm like laughing every episode. I'm like, okay, like I get it's like edgy. I get that they're like, I get it, what it is for the time and everything too, and it's fine. I like it, but it's also not great. Like I'm not like obsessed with Fleabag. Like
Yeah.
it's like, all right, like
Another streaming service that that constantly has good shows is HBO. I know I pay for HBO, and there's been a lot of them. Like there was Barry, Sharp Objects, Big Little. Well, no, not Big Little Lies, but
yeah, Big Little Lies.
is it Big Little Lies? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch Outsider yet?
I haven't seen that yet.
Dude.
Oh, actually, I just read about it today in the morning.
It just so it premiered like last Sunday, and the first 2 episodes came out.
Yeah.
It's great. Like I was like, I've not been this hooked into a show since like first season of True Detective, where I was just like, holy shit. Like this, the premise is great. It's executed well. Like it's super dark and eerie. And you're like, I mean, I have so many questions right now. Like I think it's on tonight. Like I cannot wait to find out. I'm like, it's like, I'm already hooked. Like week by week, I'm like, I am into this show. Like it's really good.
Yeah. They put out some pretty good shows. I'm surprised they get so many good ones.
So many. I mean, that's the thing, man, is it's like, who is the talent they have? I don't know. Like, that's what I don't understand about like Amazon. Like these companies are worth so much money. I'm like, I know they have talented people there, but I'm like, how are they not picking these great projects? I'm like, how do like, I don't know. Like, there's got to be something in like the culture, the atmosphere there of like what they're kind of aiming for. But I'm like, yeah, I mean, how does HBO always get it right? Netflix doesn't always get it right, but they're putting
No.
out so much stuff that I'm
Yeah.
like, they get it right a lot of the time,
Their
but like they
bad
miss
stuff
quite a
gets
bit too.
just washed away when more stuff just comes in.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like there's
No.
just a there's I mean Stranger Things, probably their top stuff. I mean, Stranger Things is probably number one. Everyone's obsessed with that You show. Even my fiance watched
Yeah.
of it, which I haven't seen any of them.
I watched the first half of season 1, but I don't know. It's just not for me, I guess.
That's kind of like I couldn't get into the premise of it. I was like, I don't care. Like I'm just like I just didn't. And the people that are in it, I don't care either. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I just
It just kind of started pissing me off. I was like,
Really?
oh, this
Yeah.
guy's just. I mean, it goes on beyond whatever you could think of, like just him stalking this person. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right, I don't know. It's just not believable at one point, and then I wasn't invested into it, so I was like, I'm not going any further.
that's kind of why I didn't even start. I'm like, my fiance is super into it. I'm like, all right, like that, but that's who it's made for. Like, that's the demographic. Like, I feel like it's definitely more for like females, and like it's kind of capitalizing on all the like true crime, like paranoia, like all that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did you watch You Don't Fuck with Cats?
Yeah, I did. I try to recommend that documentary to everybody
Oh
because
my God, man, that show, like, well, the fact that it's true is insanity.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like that documentary kind of has everything in
Yeah.
it. Like everything modern times, like just the obsession with fame and like social media and then like murder and like I mean anything that a person like is looking for to get like addicted to is in this show, and the
Yeah.
fact that it's true is just insanity. Like, and there's scenes like I mean those scenes with the cast, man. Like I literally couldn't even watch it. Like I was like, thank God they didn't really show anything. But I was like,
Yeah.
you get the idea, and dude, it made me like I've never just like boiled like that from like watching something where I could like feel my like skin get hot. Like I just wanted. Like I wanted vengeance. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to know. Like I can see why these people hunted this dude down. Because
Yeah.
like seeing that video, like that's how I felt. And I'm like, so yeah, I mean that documentary was, I mean it hit every level for me of like just an intense feeling.
Yeah, that it's a really good show. I mean, I know a lot of people were uncomfortable with it and they don't like it because
Well, of course, that's why.
I've heard two separate points of view. So I've heard people say that they don't know why it's such a big deal because it's not even that gruesome.
No,
And then the other point of view is that it's too much for them.
Yeah, it's definitely too much, but but I think that's the point. Like if you needed to see and feel those things to get, that's why Game of Thrones was so good. You hated those characters. Like you've never hated a character more than Joffrey because they do the worst, most disgusting things.
Right.
So in order for you to get that much of a reaction out of something, you're never going to get, it's like the highest highs come from the lowest lows. Like you have to have those things where you see something that makes you react in such a negative way. So when you get that payoff at the end, it never feels more satisfying. Like,
dude, that payoff at the end was
storytelling.
amazing to me because it like how it connected with what was the name of the movie?
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct is what it was.
Yeah.
When it connected that, I was like,
dude.
This is crazy.
That's the other thing is then I kind of connected with that character because I was like, oh fuck, like
right,
because that's me. I do that shit all the time. Like, dude, all the movies I've seen when I was a little like, but that's why Vanilla Sky is actually my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah,
is because all the pop culture, all the music, all the movies, all the TV shows, like that's what in Mr. Robot they touch on that a lot too. And dude, we'll talk about Mr. Robot in a minute. By the way, that is by far my favorite show, became my favorite show of all time with that last season. But yeah, so like in that show, they kind of talk about how like internalizing all this pop culture and all this stuff. And then those were the keys to understanding like all the fucked up stuff he was doing. And I'm like, that to me is pretty brilliant, but we're starting to realize like how truly much pop culture is like how much we're internalizing it and how it's like dictating our behavior, dictating our thought patterns, dictating like how we view the world. And like,
Yep.
it's pretty fascinating. Like when you start really getting into all of that stuff. And then now with social media, it's just taking it to like a whole other level.
It
So
is. It, best documentary of last year for sure. I haven't seen one where it hooked me like that or it got me going. It got
yeah,
me so.
I mean, I remember I was sitting in the library because I do a lot of my there's like this library in San Francisco that I love. It's like this private. It kind of reminds me out of like a library of like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And there's like all these like hidden staircases and all this stuff. So that's where I go and like do my work. And I decided to watch the first episode of that show, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna watch this episode and then I'll get back to like writing whatever. I watched the first one. I'm like, oh fuck, now I got to see the second. And like literally watched all of them right then. I was just like, I couldn't stop. Like, but that's when you know it's well done. Is like that binge, like you just can't shut it off. Like
Yeah.
you need to like keep going no matter. Dude, like I could have stuff I needed to do later in the day, and I'm like, well, that's not happening now. Like I'm for sure just watching this.
Yeah, I binged what is it, 3 episodes, all
Yeah,
of them
it's 3. Yeah,
that night, and I was like, oh
so
my God,
good.
I can't believe this even went this far.
Dude, went that far, and like how like that show. I mean, it's from what it started as to what it ended as, and like
Yeah.
all the crazy shit in between. I was just like, this is unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
it's literally the most fascinating. Like just, I don't know how people. I mean, I get why people don't like it because it's super sick,
Yeah.
but it's also holy shit. Like, what more could you possibly want from? And that's the thing. That's what's kind of fucked up is at the very end. They're like, yeah, this is what we are taking as entertainment now. And like, we're kind of part of the problem because the fact that we find this stuff so fascinating and want to keep watching it and keep investing in it is also why this kid
Why it
did
happens,
this
yeah.
fucked up stuff. So I'm like, we're also part of the problem, but I'm like, it's kind of like, it's super meta and it's like, but it's also brilliant because it's still a true story. And this stuff is fascinating because, dude, we're understanding people, like, because you and I talking, like, all right, like we're two dudes about the same age, like we understand each other, we're like nice, normal, just super normal guys.
Yeah.
But then there's a dude like that who is able to like torture animals, kill people, and I'm like, holy shit, like that's like, I'm a human being, I'm the same as that guy.
Yeah.
We're not the same. Like
No.
we're like, but that is fascinating. Like you can't not like, I mean, it's like even Taika Waititi, like that sense of humor, like, or it's just like, there's just different levels of people, but then there's the dark stuff is just as fascinating as the light stuff. Like,
yeah, I completely agree. Like,
yeah,
I know I might sound messed up, but I thought that guy was genius, man. Like,
dude, he's brilliant. That is dude. The fact that he was able to evade, he would like, dude, how well thought out it was.
Yeah.
Like all the clues he was dropping. Like, dude, it is so fucking fascinating.
He
like,
completely steered that whole Facebook group, even like the cops and stuff. He steered them wherever he wanted them to go, which is insane. Like,
dude, he would plant shit in the rooms, to throw people off. I was like, dude. I mean, and when you look at him, he just looks like this little bitch guy that you just want to like snap his neck. Like he just looks like this, but he's a brilliant manipulator and like just super dark, super creepy. But I mean, dude, it was probably the most fascinating thing I actually saw all year. Like where I was just like, this has everything tied into it, like everything modern, everything like that. We're even people who are into movies and into like Netflix, like all of that shit. It's all the themes are tied into this one story. And then cats, and then cat animal lovers, like all of it's there. Like how not everybody is talking about this documentary pretty much all the time. I'm just like, I don't know, because
I got to watch it pretty early. Like I think it might have been the day it came out because I was like, what is this? And I didn't even start watching it. My wife was the one that started watching it.
Really?
And, I sat there, and usually she doesn't pick very good stuff.
Yeah, I get it.
So But sometimes she'll like hook me with something. I'll be like, "What are you watching?" And then it's like I just sat there and I was like, "What the hell just
Is
happened?"
this? Yeah, what is going on right now? Yeah, like because it just starts, dude. It starts with just like this kind of like lonely lady, like working in a. You live in Las Vegas, so
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like she's working at the casino and
Well,
like,
that's what got me right away. I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
she's in Vegas."
yeah, yeah, and then it just goes so hard in like this crazy direction where you're just like, wow, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly like. I think about that documentary probably way more than I should. Like I think about it a lot. Like
Yeah,
it's like
I do too. It I don't want to say it changed me, but
it
it
did. No,
did.
it messed with me for sure. Like I'm not the same person I was after that.
No.
Like it was so fascinating, so interesting. Like yeah. I mean, like it was crazy. Like, and I don't know why it's not getting. Because do you hear people talking about it that much?
No.
Really, right?
Like the
Yeah,
people that talk about it are like either people that watch everything on Netflix
yeah.
but not like not the common person that just
No. And well, I mean, and I get, and people tend to focus on just the animal cruelty part of it,
yeah,
which I'm like, yeah, of course, that's what hooks you. And that's why it's like, it is the thing that obviously made me the most heated up. But then
yeah.
that's the other part of it too, is like when he kills that dude, I didn't react nearly as bad as when he killed like the cats, and I'm like, well, that
Yeah.
also like because dude, you're learning a lot about yourself as like a person
Yeah.
too, so, like how you're reacting to what this kid is doing. But he's also that's kind of why he's doing it, and like it's fascinating. Like I
Like
was
for like the guy I have co-hosting with me, he's kind of twisted as well. he he watches a lot of those videos. Like he goes online and just watches
I don't
like
watch. Yeah, I can't
all
do
those
that.
gory ass videos, right?
No.
And he started watching it because I told him about it. And he's like, when he finally saw what the murder part of it,
Yeah, yeah.
he's like, dude, I saw that video years ago. Like I saw it, the whole thing. So
Jeez.
he's like, when
Did you think it was real?
yeah, he thought it was real.
So you do know it's real? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then he was like right away. I was like, dude, I've seen this video, and he's like, it connected to for him. You know, it was like,
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
finish watching this now. Like,
I remember, well, I had listened to a podcast years ago about that, like about like this gay guy in Canada who like
yeah,
killed this Asian dude, and but so I knew that part of the story, and then this documentary gets into the whole like beginning part. Like I had no idea how deep and how much further it actually went. So like I actually like because then when it started getting to that part where he actually killed the guy, I was like, oh, I actually know this part of the story. But I was like, holy shit! And then I didn't know how it ended up. I didn't know like how
yeah,
he got caught and like all that stuff either. And then, dude, I mean, it was so well done, like so just like fascinating. And then I don't know how people aren't talking about this documentary more. Like I hear yeah part of the like the PETA stuff, the animal cruelty, and like how it's like they think it's almost I don't know, but it's part of the story. You can't just like shut that out because that's the part where like that's why these people started investigating it is because that's what hooked them, and it
yeah.
all just went crazy from there.
It's a great documentary. It's not even up for any awards or anything like that either.
Nothing, dude. I mean, that thing is like the most fascinating documentary I've seen in a while. I mean, I watched a few of them. Did you watch American Factory by any chance
I
on
haven't, no.
Netflix? Watch that
The
one.
next one I want to watch is that what's that football player's name?
I
Hernandez.
watched that one. The
Aaron
Aaron Rodgers
Hernandez, right?
story.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, that's what one.
Yeah, or Hernandez.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of them.
Yeah, sorry, poor Aaron Rodgers. No, that one was I kind of knew all of that stuff. If you've heard any of that or followed any of that story, like
Yeah,
it doesn't really get into too much that you don't already know. It kind of just has some like footage about it, but you basically are just like, this guy's a fucking scumbag. But what
yeah.
I don't like is they try to tie it into like CTE, like the brain damage
Oh,
stuff.
all right, yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, it almost feels like a cop out. Like they're
Yeah.
trying to like, oh, like I'm like, no, he's been doing this shit since he was like super young. And dude, how many football players and whatever boxers and MMA fighters and all those people have CTE that aren't committing murders?
Yeah, right.
Like let's like let's so I didn't like that documentary as much. Like it and it doesn't they drag it out too. Like it's not fully like engaging the whole time. So
Yeah. But Netflix has some good documentaries though. Like I think
yeah,
Making a Murderer was a good one.
yeah.
And they have some other ones on there. I can't remember all of them right now, but I
I,
know I've seen good ones on Netflix though.
well, I love the true crime stuff. Like I am like, because I mean that's why I like David Fincher so much and
Yeah.
Mindhunters, because like the dude, like we were talking about, like the human being fascinates me. Like that's why I love movies, is because it
Yeah.
gives you insights into other lives that like you wouldn't necessarily like. Dude, I'm just a normal guy who likes going to movies, who has like a fiance, I'm like just a dude like who's like got friends, like. And so to get insight into other people's lives, like that's I get it through movies, I get it through documentaries, and like I get it through friendships. But a lot of my friends are pretty similar to me, and
Yeah.
like I'm kind of boring, I guess, to most people, like because I'm just living my life, like it's
Right.
nothing super glamorous or exciting. That's just what I do. But yeah, so when you get that's why movies have always been this thing that fascinated me, is because I'm like you're getting different perspectives, different like that's why people who are like all upset about like this inclusive stuff and like all of that, I'm like, dude, I want way more of that, because like I don't know what like a lot of people's experiences are. And like if we start like if I listen to just this me telling stories about my life all the time, like yeah, I can connect with it, but to me it's kind of boring. And so
Yeah.
like when I see a show like Atlanta, where it's basically like me as Donald Glover making a show from a black person's perspective about him living in Atlanta, and I'm like, dude, and it's really funny, really well done. But I'm like, I want more of that. Like that
Yeah.
is hilarious, because it's stuff I'm never gonna live. I don't have that perspective, but it's super interesting, and it's also I connect to it because it basically is just like watching me as a black guy
Yeah.
in this life. Like I still connect to him as like a human being, and like just, but it's so different and so foreign to anything that I know, which I love. Like that's why I do like that. I want more of that as well.
Yeah, like now when you say it, like I tend to push back a little bit when the whole this character has to be a woman or
Well, that's bullshit though. That's
yeah.
like, I mean, that's selling bullshit.
Yeah,
Like that's like,
or another one recently that's popular is like, oh, this character's gay or
yeah.
bisexual or whatever the case may be.
But that's like that's pandering to me. Like that to me, it's just like they're just selling garbage. Like I'm just
It,
like, oh, like we like gay people. Like now we're gonna put one in our show, and I'm like, all
right,
right, like cool. Like I guess they're happy to see themselves in it and there, but I'm
right,
like they're not really even
represented.
connecting. Like even Star Wars, they have like this whole thing, and like that it was like not even 2 seconds long. Like
Oh,
those
the yeah, where they
just
kiss the
being
two.
kissed.
Yeah,
And I'm like, what, dude? Like, it's almost just like kind of just like a slap in the face too. Like, it's
right.
almost
That's
like,
what I
look,
think.
no, we checked it off. Like, oh, you can't get that mad at us.
Yeah,
Like, we have gay people in there too. And I'm
yeah.
like,
It even looked forced. Like I
it
don't know.
was
It
way
wasn't even
forward.
like
They were
discreet.
they were checking a box, and they checked it, and it just moved on. I'm like, it was distracting. Like it was because now I have to like think about it, and I'm like, and it's not even didn't even feel earned. It's just like you just knew what they were doing. They were checking the box to like be like, oh, like we like gay. There's gay people in outer space too, and I'm like,
Yeah,
cool. All
yeah.
right.
A lot of that's how I feel a lot about a
Make
lot
a
of it. Like
movie about some gay guys or like whatever that's like Marvelous Miss Maisel. That's hilarious. That like
yeah,
I like the characters, I connect with them. Like that's what inclusivity is. Like
yeah,
that's the opportunity people are asking for. Like these clicking the boxes, like these check marks, like okay, like have to have a certain amount of these people, I have to have a certain amount of this. I'm like that, but people know it's bullshit. Like they
yeah.
can feel it's bullshit. Like
The Miss Marvel show, Miss Maisel show. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's a good one because like you see the artist that she's on tour with,
Yep.
you know, he
Yeah.
ends up being gay, and you see
Yep.
what he's going through, and
Mhm.
you actually connect because you've gotten to know the character a lot more
Yeah.
through the show. But I mean, some of it is really forced. Some of it feels really cheap just to get people
Yeah.
into the theater, and but
Yeah.
then
But I mean, but are people? I don't know. Are people really buying into it? Like,
that's what I want to know,
are
and I
people
kind
like
of
are
want to
gay
get.
guys showing up? They're like, yeah, like all excited, like there's like a gay
Yeah,
character, but
I
there's a
wish
weak
I knew
character
more.
too.
I wish I knew more people, or I try to connect to people, and I'm like, I wish I could get people that are gay or the whatever a different
Yeah.
point of view on the podcast to talk about it with
Mm-hmm.
them. Because a good example for me is um Star Wars recently has had a lot of Hispanic Latino actors in it,
Uh,
and when I look at it being a Latino person,
yeah.
um it kind of makes me feel a little like proud, and it's cool that they're there, you know, they're
Yeah.
part of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I start thinking, like, try to step out of my own shoes and put myself
Mm-hmm.
into someone else's. Is that what's happening with people that are gay or women or black, that they're seeing themselves being represented on screen no matter what the case may be?
I think in certain aspects, yes, but I think like that little sneaky thing in Star Wars where they just have them kiss. I think
Yeah,
like that, no, because I feel like they're like, dude, like come on, like give
yeah,
us a character, give us something that's like that we actually don't just throw that in there.
right. Like, and a lot of it, especially Star Wars, like with the whole Lando thing in the Solo movie, where they were
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, he's pansexual." I'm like, what does it matter?
Oh,
Like
I didn't even pick up. Did they say that in the movie,
I don't
or
think
is
they
it
say it
actually
in the movie.
implied?
I think like the director or the writer or someone said it afterwards. Like, "Oh yeah,
Oh, really?
because he acts that way because he's pansexual or whatever." I'm
Oh,
like,
really? I mean, all right.
and I'm like, what does it matter? Like I don't know.
Yeah, and
It's
it's like a kid's
pointless.
story, so it's like, I mean, dude, who cares? I mean, that's the thing is like most of this stuff, I just don't even care. Like, I'm like, if you make a good story and I like the character, that's all I want. Like,
Yeah,
and I feel like I don't care. Like, Joe Rogan talks us a lot because I actually didn't see Frozen 2. I don't know if you
I
did,
haven't seen it. No, I'm
but he
trying to
talked
avoid it.
about like how I guess I haven't seen this. This is what he was saying, but he's like it's super distracting. I guess the dad of the two little girls is black and the mom is Asian, and then the little girls and their babies are Asian babies, and they grow up to be the two main characters, the two white girls.
The
And I was
hell?
like, wait, what? And he's like, dude, he's like, it is really distracting. He's like, I get what they're doing. They're like being inclusive and like all this stuff. But I'm like, tell me how a black guy, an Asian lady have two Asian babies that grow up to be white women. He's like, it's just kind of ridiculous. And I'm like,
I
and
had
it
no
is.
idea
It's,
about that. That just
I
sounds.
didn't either. I haven't seen it, but like now I kind of want to see
Oh,
it
yeah.
purely because that's what he said. So I'm like, it just, but like that's the stuff that I think pisses people off because it's like, it's like it's just, it's making it feel cheap.
Yeah,
Like I'm like,
that's
dude,
what
I'm
I think
all
too.
about inclusivity. I'm all about opportunity. Like I want new perspectives. Like I like, especially talented perspectives where it's like really like clever, like Atlanta and shows like that. And like, I want more of that because it's just it's fascinating to me. It's like the same learning about like other types of human beings. It's why I like learning about serial killers. It's
Yeah,
why I like learning about like other cultures and other stuff. Like that's why I like watching like Coco or like I'm learning more about Day of the Dead and like what that actually means
yeah,
to like Mexican culture and like all that stuff. Because to me, it's like I see the images and like to me it's beautiful and fascinating, but I don't know what it is or what it means. And so
right.
when I get these movies that give me insight into that stuff, like I love that. Like I want more of that. So like for me learning about other cultures through really creative fun stuff, dude, I'm all about it. But like yeah, when you get the cheap kind of pandering like I mean, it just it to me it's like to me it's almost degrading, especially like all this stuff with like Ghostbusters and like when they're making the female version of the male movie, I'm like, dude, you're basically saying that these women can't carry their own franchise.
Yeah, that's exactly how I think about it. It's like,
Yeah,
why not give me an original movie about a character that's either gay or
totally.
woman or black, whatever the case may be,
Uh-huh.
instead of just forcing it. I don't know. It feels
Forcing it.
very forced.
And then being mad when people are upset
Yeah,
about it. Like they're like, "Oh, well, like you're sexist because you didn't." I'm like, dude, not at all. Like I like the original movies. I like the original cast, like all that stuff.
I
Like
mean that's what happened with Elizabeth Banks and the
squeezing into your
Charlie's Angels
social
movie.
agenda right now doesn't mean we have to like it, because the reason we liked it in the beginning is because it was one thing, and now you're changing everything about it and being like, well, you have to like this, and if you don't like it, you're racist or you're sexist. And I'm like, well, now you make me hate it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's like I said, like that's what happens with Elizabeth Banks and her Charlie's Angels movie, the latest one.
yeah,
You heard her comments. I'm like she was saying that it failed or flopped because men are not ready or don't want to
yeah.
watch
Like
female
no,
movies.
or
Uh,
we just didn't care, and it's a
Yeah,
remake of a remake of a remake
yeah.
that nobody cared about to begin with. And
Nope.
I'm like, maybe that's, and it looked terrible.
It
Like
looked
it
bad,
looked. Like, I saw the trailer, I was like, nope.
but
Like
it made me. You see, that isolates people, and that's what brings maybe hate into it because now I
yeah,
really don't want
no,
to
it does,
watch any
dude.
of her
It makes me
movies.
mad. Like I actually
Yeah,
get a negative. Like even when they brought Captain Marvel like into the whole franchise, like dude, you're the whole franchise, the whole thing has been so well plotted out, so well executed. All these stories tied together, all this build up, and the movie before the final conclusion, the biggest movie of the whole finale, you bring in Captain Marvel, who is basically Superman,
hmm,
to clean up the whole mess. And I'm like, and it's clearly an afterthought. Like it's
yeah.
clearly just like, oh my God, we're like in this time right now. Like we have like a woman character. Like let's just bring her in. I'm like, well, dude, she can fix all the problems just being her. I'm like, why? Like just if you want to do something with her afterwards, totally go about it. But I'm like, dude, it felt so cheap, so unearned. And then it's like, and then all these people are like upset that like people are mad about it. I'm like, but you went about it in in the worst possible way. Like
Yeah,
in the movie was fine. It definitely was one of their weaker movies. But I'm
yeah,
like, but the reason people hated it is because it was forced. It didn't feel earned at all.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they were trying, and they were so blatantly just like all their social agenda jammed into this movie. And you're just like, I was watching it, just like rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh God. Like, and then it makes you angry. And I'm like, cause it's bullshit. Like you were being fed bullshit, and we're telling this like it's medicine. Like, well, you have to take this. Like, if you don't like it, like, it's gonna make you a better person. It's gonna make
yeah.
you this. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with all of that. Like, but that's just how I feel about
That's
it.
that's how I feel about it too. I'm like,
It's
you forcing me. Look, Incredible Miss Maisel is like a great example of a
perfect,
great
perfect.
character, female
Yep.
character, and
Still the social agenda, dude. How she goes to like the comedy clubs in the beginning, and it's like all males, and they kind of like give her shit, and they kind of like, but then she's better than they are,
yeah,
so they kind of like, then they're all like, because she keeps getting bumped and bumped and bumped because like the male guy, like whatever. And I'm like, dude, but that's like showing like a woman's perspective, like getting into a man's industry and like this shit she has to deal with. But it's fascinating because it feels real and it feels earned, and then
yeah,
like you kind of understand like what's going on. And then the fact she's super talented is like, well, you can't ignore her because she's fucking good. Like
yeah. I mean,
that's
it is relevant even in today's age, even though it's set in
yeah.
the late
Oh,
50s.
totally.
Yeah, like that's what females are talking about all the time.
Hmm.
Like they're not getting the fair chance. They're not looked at equally. It's a great story, and it doesn't feel forced on
Well, people
anybody.
got mad at me on my Instagram because like they're like, well, who are your favorite female directors? And I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, there aren't many. Like, and if
No.
they are around, they've only made like a movie or two.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have favorite. Like, my favorites are Nancy Meyers, Nora Ephron, and Penny Marshall because they were making like the romantic comedies and stuff I loved back in the 80s and 90s and even now. But like, yeah, I mean, like Greta Gerwig has made Lady Bird and Little Women.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked both of those movies. But is she my favorite director? No.
Yeah.
Like, dude, give her 5 or 6 more films, like, until I'm I've definitely seen the potential, and I'm fascinated by her, and I can't wait to see more stories that she tells. But I'm like, everyone's like, well, you need to talk about more women. You need to talk about this. I'm like, well, women are just starting out. Like,
Right, they're
I'm
just
paying
starting.
attention, believe me. Like, I'm aware of all of them, but like, they aren't. I don't even know which ones I like yet. Like, I don't know which ones humor I like. Like, I don't know which ones
Yeah, it's
visuals
too
I like
early.
yet. Like,
Yeah,
so.
let's go into with this discussion. Let's go into the Oscars because a lot of people are kind of hating on the Oscars because it's either all male or white people or white guys, whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
But then I was talking to some other person. I was like, well, I mean, really, like, who else would you put in there?
Yeah, they've been around a lot, dude. I'm like, that's the thing. So like, people get upset about like, dude, white men. Well, one, they kind of took the country from Native Americans. So
Yeah,
like, yeah, I get with the shit we've been doing for a long time is pretty fucked up.
yeah,
But they also are the ones who built the studios. Built like they've been doing this for 100 years. It's white foundation.
yeah,
So it's like of so it's just kind of how things have always been and been going. So they just have years and years and years on everything else.
yeah.
So the fact that it's like the tides are shifting now and people are mad about it, sure, but it's just going to take more
It's gonna
time.
take
Like
time
the opportunities are starting to show up, but you can't just be handed the highest honors when like
when
the
you just
credibility
started.
is it's being built right now.
Yeah,
Like that's what's happening.
I
So it's
agree.
going
Like
to
I
stay.
look at the list for like say um what was it? Well, actually, the one that I think did get snubbed for best actress or for that category was Lupita Nyong'o in
Oh
Us.
God, yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, well, what's her name? Toni Collette was snubbed for
Yeah,
Hereditary,
for
and dude, she
Hereditary.
had the best performance, not even in a horror of the year.
She
Like
was really good in
Toni
that.
Collette was the best female performance that year, and she didn't even get a nomination.
Yeah,
The Academy just doesn't like horror movies,
they
so like
don't.
Lupita for sure, like she should have gotten a nomination, but she didn't get it. Not get it because she was black. She didn't get it because she was in a horror movie. And like I get Jordan Peele kind of broke some barriers down with Get Out because like the
Yeah.
fact that was horror, but it was also very like, dude, horror is just starting to be taken credible.
Yes,
Like,
because that's what I was about to say. Because I think the horror genre has kind of evolved into something else. Very like thoughtful messages in horror now
mhm,
with Ari
yeah,
Aster and Jordan Peele, and
Mike Flanagan and
yeah,
like I mean Guillermo del Toro. Like so that's what because I didn't realize people didn't like The Shape of Water. Like because I posted how I on my Instagram that I really loved it and people were like hate that movie, fuck that movie, blah blah. I was just like really? I'm like I had no idea that people didn't really like Shape of Water or Guillermo del Toro and I'm like dude, do you guys not realize what that movie is and what that was able to accomplish for horror? Because one, it's like Guillermo del Toro is clearly a horror movie lover.
yeah,
Like he's loved movies since he was like a little kid. He's created all these monster movies, and he connects more with the monster. Like he always know, like because he's not a super attractive dude. He's like clearly like a weird guy,
yeah,
and so he always connected more with the monster and he never could understand why the monster never got the girl. So then he created this whole story, like this super beautiful like fantasy like surreal world where like this sea creature gets the girl because this girl is so different that she connects with this monster
yeah,
and like tells like this really compelling incredibly visual story. And I'm like, but then hides all these kind of like social themes and everything in it as well. And I'm like, dude, he did that through a horror movie. And I'm like, I get that, like, it's weird that she has sex with a fish and like all that stuff. But I'm like, but look what he was able to do. Like, visually stunning. The story was incredible. It's like it's a romance movie, but it's like horror elements into it. Like you can't even define this movie. And
no,
I'm like, dude, what he just did for the horror genre is on like, dude, that just blew us leaps and bounds. Like that's why I mean, Get Out, Shape of Water, like all this credibility is now starting to come to horror, and it happens to be my favorite genre as well. but I don't get how people don't see that. Like they just kind of want to hate on it because yeah, it's a weird movie, but why is it weird and what is it that people connected to about it?
Yeah, I thought
But
it was a good movie.
yeah, it was
I
great.
enjoyed it. Yeah, yeah. I see why people are mad about the whole Oscar thing, but I look at the list and I mean, what else are you gonna put in there?
You can't
You
exactly like,
can't.
dude. The year's too strong. It's like, dude, what are you gonna bump Scorsese? The guy's been around. Like that's the thing is, name a female director or anyone who's been around since like the '70s
Yeah,
who's still they're on tour and they're just white guys. Like, dude, that's who was in power or like doing all this stuff for so long that like that's just what you can't just discredit them now because like we're in a different time. You just have
yeah.
to wait for this time to evolve over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And I guarantee the Oscars will look very different, but we'll also have people that were behind. Like
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if we discredit all these white male
it's stupid.
directors, movie
Yeah,
makers, we would end up doing the same thing that we're blaming them of doing
exactly.
before.
It's a power move.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not, dude. I'm like, if you're really aiming for equality, then yeah, let's get everyone up to where they're equal. But you can't just like strip the people in power. You just got to build the other ones up.
yeah,
Like you don't want worse entertainment. So it's like if white people have evolved, like if they're the ones pushing the boundaries, doing all this stuff, giving like they were given more opportunity, 100%.
yeah,
So but that's just what it's always been. You can't change that aspect of it. It's not like you can strip them of like their talent or whatever it is to like make the playing field even. You just have to bring up new talent and like let it's just gonna take time and
it's gonna
people
take
just want
time.
it now. They're like, oh, like we want it fair now. And I'm like, that's not how it's gonna
I
work.
think
It just
I think we
isn't.
should honestly be happy that it's even happening. You know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that
Just
we got the
the
movement going.
opportunity is 100%. Just be happy the opportunity's there and now take advantage of it.
Yeah,
Like, dude, people are aware and like what more do you really need? Like that's what it is. Like now it's like and the talent will rise. The original voices will the unique perspectives that cuz like dude, if you tell me something like as a white guy, if you tell me something that I connect to that's like from a complete like I was saying like with Atlanta that's like a completely unique perspective. I'm like that to and like white people are still the majority of the country. Like that's like
yeah.
it like that's just what it is. So the market is just bigger. So you're just going to get more movies that those people connect to. And if you also tell a good story that like most people connect to, because humans are still humans, like they still
Right.
connect to human stories. And so as long as that kind of keeps heading in that direction, like I feel like it's going to be, dude, everything's going to get better.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, we're gonna get so many different points of views and
stories, new humor, like
stories.
new all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so too. But it's just gonna take time. That's all.
exactly.
That's
I
all
mean,
it
that's
is.
really all,
Especially
but that's why
this year, there's not. We could say Lupita Nyong'o got snubbed, but there's not many snubs. I would consider. Um,
no. I mean,
did
people were like the only two people got mad for because I actually said I think all the Oscar nominations this year. This is the first year I'm genuinely really happy with all of them. The
yeah,
only one I forget which one I said I would switch would it was Lupita for either what's her name from Harriet.
yeah, that's the one I think should have
Yeah,
been.
that one should have been. I mean, but I also understand why Lupita didn't get it because it's a horror movie. But like that one, I believe, and then people were really upset that Adam Sandler didn't get a nomination, and I was like, I get it, he was great in that movie as well, but like, dude, and then Willem Dafoe, they were really, and Willem Dafoe, I honestly don't know how he didn't get a nomination. Like
Yeah,
he 100% was great in The Lighthouse, and like he should have gotten a nomination, but the fact he didn't though, I'm not super upset about it. But like, because they got like 95% of it right, like which is really impressive. That's
I'm
honestly
just,
never happened
he hasn't
before.
won an Oscar, I believe. I'm surprised he hasn't.
No, he's been undervalued and underrated for so long. He's starting to get like nominations every year, which is great, but like he needs the win. Like, dude, he's great.
I mean, but look, like we see DiCaprio, how long it took him to get one.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean,
Which is insane.
Like dude, Tom Cruise has never gotten one. Like, dude, I mean, I remember do you remember when 3-6 Mafia won for Hustle and Flow?
Yeah.
And Martin Scorsese had never even gotten an Oscar at that point. And 3-6 Mafia had an Oscar before Martin Scorsese.
Yeah,
so
it's tough, man. It's not easy.
I mean, that's the thing is it's people who get really into it and want to argue about the Oscars. I'm like, dude, it's fun. Like, to me, it's just fun. Like, I have a good time with it. I'm not taking it that seriously. Like, I'm not screaming political agendas, getting like all like crazy with it. I'm like, dude, if you're not having fun with the Oscars, I'm like, I don't know. Like, then what's the point of doing any of it? Like, But I feel like these people just like to argue. Like, they like to get upset. And I'm like, all right.
We're just in that, there's a time, it's like everybody wants to argue about something.
Everything's an injustice. Everything's like, oh, like I didn't see what I wanted to see. And I'm like, dude, like, okay. Like, all right, man. Like, it's like, I wish you had more power and you could change it to where you got everything you wanted to, everything you wanted to see. I wish that's what you got to see. But
so who do you think is going to win Best Picture?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it'll win for sure. Like, I
haven't seen 1917.
It is great. It's okay.
And I haven't seen Parasite yet.
It is great. It's kind of the same thing I thought with. So The Lighthouse I thought was technically great. Like, it was beautifully shot, put together, cinematography, all that stuff. But to me, I could not get into the story. I was very bored by The Lighthouse's story. Sorry, my computer's gonna die.
It's all right.
But 1917 is technically incredible. Like, it's like an achievement in itself. But and I actually really like the story. The story is good, but I don't think it's good enough to win Best Picture. That's why I don't know why people are saying like it keeps winning all these awards and winning all this stuff. And I'm like, oh man, like I really hope it doesn't actually pull it off, because the story is good, but it's not groundbreaking. I didn't see, it's not better than Saving Private Ryan. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad that Irishman isn't getting that big buzz it had when it first came out.
I knew it wouldn't. It's like, dude, it's fine. Like, that movie was decent, but I'm like, it's
not even his best movie.
No, it's getting the recognition it deserves, because it deserves to be nominated, but it's not going to win. I don't think it'll win anything. I don't think it'll win a single award.
So now I've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Joker, and Marriage Story. I almost want to say Joker's going to win it. But
I mean, I think that's the movie people like where it's like they just, because it's the most engaged. It's good. It's a good movie. It's super well done, and like it's just people connect with it. It's visually cool. The music's awesome.
It's very different from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's for sure. Like, I think what I liked about Joker is how intimate it could get with the character. That to me, at least, it should win at least. I mean, maybe Best Director.
So director. The only reason I think Sam Mendes will win Best Director for 1917, because
I heard because it's just a one shot kind of thing.
And so when you think about that, like, just think about like, so Birdman. Did you ever see Birdman?
Yeah, I did watch Birdman.
Okay, so Birdman was done like it was all one shot, and it was beautiful done, technically executed, like super creative and inventive, like, and it was cool. So imagine that, but a war movie where there's like action and things blowing up and stuff going on. Like, dude, to think out each sequence and each shot and then still make it visually compelling, like the level of like thought and detail and craftsmanship that has to go into that is unbelievable. Like it's an achievement for sure. Like, I mean, nobody's even attempted anything like, as hard as filmmaking is, making a war movie as like one continuous shot is insanity. Like, I don't even know. And Mendes is just, he's my favorite visual director by far. Like, he's just, the way he frames things and shoots, like, it's stunning. All his movies, like Skyfall, Road to Perdition, all of those are beautiful to me. And so to see him elevate his own craft to this level, like, I totally get why he will probably win Best Director, but I don't think it should win Best Picture, because like the craftsmanship behind it is incredible, but the story isn't anything that engaging that, like, I just think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's gonna,
you know what, now that you like Best Picture, Joker, we've kind of seen that story before. It's not super original. It's just
it's a unique take on it.
It's a unique take on it, yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is completely original. So
totally, and dude, totally original, like, dude, we get so much insight, and like, for people who love movies, I'm like, do they not realize how much we're learning about movies? Like, dude, we're having one of our greatest directors from this generation telling us like what it's like to be on set. Like, this is how these people interact. This is like what like goes on set. Like, dude, sometimes the star of the show sits next to a little girl who's just like has a few lines, and like they have a connection. Like, they taught, and he's like, who are you? Like, that was like, she's like, I mean, that whole scene is like, there's so many funny moments, so many funny things. And like, it's all tied into the movies. It's all takes place in Hollywood. And it happens to be like at this crazy time in Hollywood's history. Like, dude, to me, it's like, so, it's fascinating. It's like a great story. I loved all the characters. There's moments where it does drag out, but he's also teaching you like what it's like to be on set when you're going through a scene. And because like there's a part where you get lost in it, like you get lost in like it's not, they weren't doing Bounty Law. I forget the name of the show they were doing in it, but and then all of a sudden he fucks up the line. Yeah. And he's like trying to get back into character, but he's like, cut. He's like, and it gets all like flustered. And we've never seen DiCaprio do that before. Yeah. And then you could tell he like overacts because he's like trying to get all into it. And he's like got his like mustache. It's like all twitchy. And I'm like, dude, this shit is fuck, because that we're seeing what an actor goes through in real life when he like fucks up a line, but he's like needs to get back into character, and like the director's like, no, just keep going, and he wants to just like, he's like, you can tell he's like panicking, but he's like, all right, just be professional, get back into it. You can see that inner monologue like working. I'm like, I've never seen that portrayed like in a film before, especially through like DiCaprio being all neurotic. And it's like, so he's really showing you like how the movies work, how things function in Hollywood. Like, then you have that like crazy eccentric director who comes in, and he's like he's like, I wanted you to look like a hippie, but like, he's like, well, how are they going to tell if it's me if I'm covered up and all? And like, that guy's just super fucking weird. Yeah. But this is also the dude you have to take seriously because he's your director. So you're like, dude, I got to give this guy what he wants, but he's a fucking weirdo. So like, all of these aspects are like tied into this movie. And as a movie lover, I was obsessed. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
Yeah, so. I love the movie, but I remember the first thought I had after watching it was like, I wonder if people in the industry or that know more about the behind the scenes than say I do or someone else would. Yeah, enjoyed the movie more than
they did. That's why I don't win Best Picture for sure, 100%. Like, that's all. When I was in LA and like talking to my friends who work in the industry and all that stuff, they love it more than I love it because, dude, it's one, you're traveling back in time to a very cool era in Hollywood, and he gets every detail perfect. But then they also connect to like, dude, this is what it's like when like how the makeup artist relates to this person and how like all these things like. So people who are voting on this movie
have that point of view
more than we love this movie, and they're the ones. That's why it's going to win Best Picture. Yeah. I 100% don't even doubt that it will. Like, I'd be willing to place like all my savings on it. Like, I have a feeling it's going to win.
Yeah, I think that's the divide on that movie. Like, It
Mm-hmm.
depends how in tune you are with Hollywood, I think.
Well, it's a movie lover's movie
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
to me, like that final scene, I wish I
Mm.
would have got more of that. But
Everybody does.
yeah,
Dude, that's Tarantino. That's it. But like, that's why this movie's so different. But I'm also glad that he put that in there because, dude, how satisfying! He's rewarding you. It's like a treat at the end of like a
yeah.
like. He's like, dude, I took you through this whole story. You hung out with these characters. Like, hopefully, you had a good time. But like,
Well, that's what
here's
I got out of it. Like afterwards, I was like, oh, well, he did such a great job in putting so much detail into the characters, just
everything.
so that final scene would be a big
Dude,
payoff.
Brad Pitt is on acid, smoked in acids. Dude,
Yeah,
that scene is so fucking hilarious in so many ways. Like, dude, he's like, tonight, is tonight the night? And he's like, all right. And he just smokes like an acid dip cigarette, takes his dog on a walk, comes back, and he's met all these people before. So
yeah,
he's like, I recognize you. He's like, I recognize your pale little face. Dude, it's so fucking hilarious. And then when she stabs him in the side in the hip, like when she falls into him with a
yeah,
knife, and he takes his finger and like touches it, and he's like, "Oh fuck no!" And just that's when he just fucks these people up, man. It's like, dude,
yeah,
that scene is so good, so incredible. But you have to know all his character because the reason he's able to walk on to Spawn Ranch, like,
yeah,
because dude, all those people are around, like, dude, he's in a dangerous situation,
yep,
and he's going to check on his friend, but he walks into it totally comfortable. He's like, I don't like. He knocks on the door and just like, he's like, I'm getting in there one way or another. He's like, and this ain't gonna stop me. And I'm like, dude, we don't like. We get bits and pieces that we think he's a badass, and then that final scene is like, oh, when Cliff goes crazy, like
yeah,
this is the shit that happens. But like, because we saw him fight Bruce Lee, so we get that he's like a badass. Like
yeah,
we're like, dude, any guy that can take on Bruce Lee is clearly confident enough to walk onto Spawn Ranch surrounded by people who could do him a lot of harm. So like all these character elements are paying off the entire movie, and then we get this final moment of just like pure Tarantino chaos, which is super fun.
yeah.
But yeah,
Who do you
yeah.
think is gonna get a leading actor, best actor in a leading role?
Who do I think will win it?
Yeah,
At first, I really wanted Adam Driver. Like I do. I just think it's his year. Like he was in Star Wars. He's in The Report. He's in Marriage Story. He was in that zombie movie, like The Dead Don't Die. Like
yeah,
he's in 4 movies this year. One of them's a super high grossing movie. The other one's Marriage Story. That like he's just working a lot. He's always doing incredible work. And like I thought he was so good in A Marriage Story that I really
yeah.
want him to win. But from the looks of it, Joaquin's taking it. Like I didn't think they were going to give it to him purely because Heath Ledger won
Yeah.
for
For
the
the same
same
character,
role, and
pretty
I thought
much.
just kind of out of respect they wouldn't do that. But I think he's going to win it. I think Joaquin's going to take it this year.
Yeah, I don't mind him taking it. He did
Me
really good.
neither. I mean, dude, I wouldn't have been upset at all. Like he 100% deserves it. I would prefer just purely. I like Adam Driver, and I don't think he's gotten fully the recognition
Yeah,
that
I do
I
too.
think.
I'm a big fan of his, but I,
Yeah,
I would, I would be happy if he takes it. I would be a big upset if he would take it, but I think Joaquin's gonna take it.
I think Joaquin's going to take it too. Like, I just now that I know that they're not really like they don't really like. It seems like he's winning most of the awards for it. So I'm like, people clearly don't give a shit that
No, yeah,
Heath Ledger won it before. And like, don't get me wrong, Joaquin had the better role over Marriage Story. Like, Joker's a much better role. So the fact that he's winning it, I'm like, perfect, fine.
yeah,
He deserves it. I would have. I personally would rather see Driver win it, just because I don't know. There is something weird about Joaquin Phoenix getting an Oscar for the same role that
yeah,
Heath Ledger did. I don't know why. Like it bothers me, but like there's something about it that does. But the fact he is going to win it, I'm not upset at all, though.
yeah, yeah.
It's,
I'm not upset either. I do hope Adam Driver somehow gets it, but
dude, that last scene when like he's like in that cave, and there's like all those guys surround him, and he kind of like does that thing where he like puts his arms out, and, like waves his hands. I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
he's like, bring it on, like that little moment. Like I was like, God, fuck, he's good. Like
yeah.
he's so
He's really
good.
good. He's surprised me a couple times already. I'm like, man, this guy's really good.
He's good. He's great. Like I want him. And dude, he's played such like even I was saying like all four of the roles he did this year, all of them were completely different. Like
Yeah,
he's very dynamic, and he was so good in A Marriage Story. Like I loved his character in that film.
yeah, I
That
did too.
and he was so emotional. Like dude is like a real performance as I saw this year. Like that was
That one was it.
it was full of like subtlety. It was full of like the full breakdown moment. Like felt so earned.
I
Like
just like how much more grounded his character is compared to
yeah,
Phoenix. Um, it's just more of a real life story to me, and
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I
really
mean, I
super
really connected
relatable.
with that
Yeah.
movie for sure.
Now the one I don't know who's gonna take it is best actress. I have no idea.
I mean, everyone keeps saying, what's her name? Renee Zellweger is going to win for Judy.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I want Scarlett Johansson to win for that too. Like,
that would
dude,
be nice.
I mean, she was incredible in Jojo Rabbit. She was really great in Marriage Story, and I mean, she was awesome. Like,
I
and then
hope
she's
Marriage Story
also,
wins something. I don't know what they're gonna win, but I really enjoyed that movie.
yeah. I mean, yeah, me too. And like, I'm putting my money. I'm actually not like gonna put my money on Renee Zellweger to win. I do think Scarlett Johansson's gonna upset her,
Yeah,
which I'm super hoping for. Like, how much more earned could it be? She's in the highest grossing movie of all time this year. She's in Jojo Rabbit, which is incredible. She's in this movie. I'm like, dude, she's a badass. Like she's doing everything right, and then she's also in an incredible role and does it really well too. That
yeah,
I think she deserves it.
yeah. I think so too. We'll see. I'm
Yeah.
excited for this year's Oscars though. Like to be honest, usually like I miss a lot of the movies they have
No.
nominated. I think I've watched a lot of them this year, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited to see what's gonna happen.
Me too. Like this will be a fun year. I mean, I think it'll just be a good Oscars. Dude, the movies were so good this year. Like,
Yeah,
I
there's a
mean,
lot of good movies this year.
consistently, like I was just showing up to the theater and walking out every time, like, oh my god, like that was like the best movie I saw this year. And then, but that was happening every time I'd go to the movies. I was like, what is going on right now? Like, this is crazy. Just the quality of movies we were getting. So, I mean, for me, this is I'm not upset about any of the nominations, any of like the whatever. I'm like, dude, this was just a super fun year at the movies. And then to see like the awards start getting passed out, like to me, it's awesome because it's just
Yeah,
the year is so like last year I felt was pretty weak. And then this year was so competitive that it's like whoever takes it home this year, like they should be really
yeah,
proud
they
of
should be
like
really
taking that
happy
award
about it.
home. Yeah.
So let's go into something like I like to talk about, and it's also one of my favorite segments, where we stop time and maybe brush off everything we got going on in life, make time for what we really like, movies or TV shows, in our segment called
The Time Warp Zone.
"What Have You Been Watching Lately?"
So I have a list like well I started The Outsider, that one I told you about that's on HBO, which is great. I mean, if you get a chance, start watching that tonight.
Yeah,
Like
I'll start watching it tonight.
it'll hook, dude. It's really good. I've been catching up on all the not Oscar nominated documentaries because I didn't watch a lot of those yet. And so, and then what else am I watching? So I want to, but actually, I don't know why I've had it in my mind. I need to watch Inherent Vice again.
hmm
I don't know if you've ever saw that one, the Paul Thomas Anderson
No,
movie
I haven't seen it yet.
with Joaquin Phoenix. And like, I watched it the first time and I remember I kind of liked it, but I didn't love it. And I don't know why it's been like just this thing like sitting in the back of my head, like watch that movie, watch that movie, watch that movie. So I'm literally going to make it a point tomorrow night to watch Inherent Vice again and
Yeah.
like figure out
Why?
what this little thing is that's nagging on me, telling me to watch it. So
Yeah, like I've been watching Incredible Miss Maisel. And I know Sex Education season 2 came out on Netflix, so I'll probably watch that this weekend.
How's that show? I've never watched it.
It's fun. Yeah, I watched the first season, and it's fun. And it's hard to remember. Like sometimes I have to rewatch like the last two, just because there's just so many shows that you watch.
Well, we also watched 10 episodes in like 2 days.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like a year to a year and a half for it to come out. I'm like, wait, what even happened to that show again?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I just remember I enjoyed it, and I was surprising that I even watched it. I mean, it must have been good if I watched the whole thing. So
yeah, you just get like a general overall feeling of like I remember I liked it. Like
it's more like it's more of a feeling than any kind of memory. Yeah.
Yeah, that's most things now. Like it's hard to like remember. That's why certain shows like I know I really love them. If I go back, like I rewatched Mindhunter. That first season, I think I've watched it 4 times now. The entire season, like I'll fucking go through, and it's like because I want all the details. I want like it vividly stuck in my head to where I can like really start to like understand that show.
Yeah,
because I just find it fascinating. Like I love it. I mean, because that's the thing is like that's what I think is so brilliant about Fincher is like people always talk about like how violent and kind of crazy his shows are, but I'm like, dude. Even 7, I don't even think there's an actual death we witness in 7, except for the very last scene.
Yeah.
But all of it is just purely being described, and you'll see like the object used, the thing that happened, but all we're getting is the aftermath and them talking about it.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, it's fascinating. Like, it's like, to me, it's like all, because it's mental. It's all like your kind of like figuring this stuff out in your head, but you're also visualizing what happened in your head. And he's not even showing you. He's just showing you like, this is the object used. This is the body. This is the blood splatter. And like you fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Like, and that to me is like, that's Hitchcock. Like that's like brilliant filmmaking.
Yeah. There's a few shows to watch this week. So it's for sure going to be busy. I'll probably watch The Lighthouse as well, cause I got to catch up on that.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear what you think about that one. Cause
we'll see. It really, not even the trailers got me really excited about it. I was like, this movie just seems like it's going to be boring, but I've heard good things about it, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see because like I actually went in excited. Maybe that might have been my problem. Is actually really excited to see it. So, but yeah, I'd be curious to see what you think.
Well, I'll watch it. I'll probably watch it this weekend or today.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna take up more of your time because we could talk all day.
I know, man. I love it. It's super fun for me to do this too. So,
so everybody, don't forget to subscribe and share and do whatever you want with this podcast.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you. You can always find us on No Time 4 movies at .libsyn.com. And you can always find Lucas find him here at No Time for Movies and Lucky Boy Reviews on Instagram and Facebook. And that'll be it for this week. Bye.